And there came a certain poor widow, and she threw in 2 mites, which make a farthing. For all they did cast in of their abundance, but she of her want did cast in all that she had, even all her living. Mark 12, 42-44. Jesus watched and he saw the self-congratulatory way in which the rich gave their contributions. It was not with gratitude they gave that much that God had enabled them to give for his great purpose. Now about the widow according to mathematics, she gave cent per cent, and that was in greater proportion than that of the rich. It is not the hand, but the heart behind the hand that God sees. It is not with the attitude of bribing God she gave. God is specially mindful of widows. It was the widow's oil that the man of God multiplied. It is the widow that is the brokenness, which is very acceptable to God. Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. James 1:27, this widow was grateful. There is no hatred or resentment or unfaith in God. The rich men have a very different attitude. Their money has buried them in self-satisfaction and hence prevented their talents from coming out. God sees in the rich man wealth greater than his riches. It is not on your personality, life, and preaching that God depends, but he looks for faith. How many young people in Christian homes die early? They never cared for God and developed faith, and now they cannot cope with sickness. What a loss their death is. The rich man's faculties are never developed because they lie buried in big riches, and the talents God has placed in him for the benefit of the world also lie hidden. How Hudson Taylor and Wesley developed their spiritual faculties and proved a blessing to the world. How many men who came into riches in the middle of their lives, have become useless for the. Some got riches by marriage and some as what they aimed at. It was money for their own usefulness that they got. Of course, they give to God. But they themselves are not his. This widow gave all. Who has known God's mind? Do you know how much he has given for Jan? If you did, you would give all. You would empty yourself. Empty the barrel and empty the oil out of the cruse was what the man of God had said. You will see how it will be filled again. How Christ made his way to the widow's son. But God was mindful of her. He sent the prophet to her. He came to turn death into life, sorrow into joy. Let not disappointment pull you down. When you come to the end of your resources, it is God's time, God's opportunity. As long as you have something to look to, and to rely on, you will look in that direction. But when there is nothing to depend upon, then you come to the place of the widow's helplessness, the widow's brokenness, and that is God's opportunity. The widow had no future. But God created a future. When there is no one to help you, God will help you. Once Sadhu Sundar Singh was in a desert and missed his way. In that helplessness, he cried to God. He could see nothing but sand all around. Then there came a man who engaged him in a gentle conversation which completely relieved him of his fatigue. Very soon they came to a village and the man disappeared. He knew it was an angel. God's angels are always watching those in despair. It is not God's purpose to let anyone die in despair. God has great things for you. When you come to a place of despair, you will see God's glory. Keep your heart humble, then you will see God's blessing and his provisions multiplying for you.